Okay, so this is a viscous coupling from a T4 transporter, and as those of you that have been following the forum, you'll know that we've been experimenting with servicing these and replacing the silicon. So it works by a series of plates filled with silicon, and the shear force of silicon allows the plates to either grip the central shaft or the casing to transfer the drive to the rear wheels. And what happens with these is over time the silicon inside degrades. Pressure builds up in the viscous coupling and eventually it goes pop. It either cracks somewhere around the aluminium housing or it cracks along the casting, and once that's happened it's just fit for the bin. So the idea really is to try and change the silicon before the viscous coupling has gone pop. So this one has done about 120,000 miles. We'll know how old it is by how much pressure is built up. So what we're going to do is take out the plug and let the silicon drain overnight. So the viscous coupling's in. I've just put it in a bit of a stand, and I'm just going to catch the silicon in this pot. So you can see the silicon was under quite a bit of pressure there as I took the lid off, and it's just oozing out. So I mean, you can see what happens if this had carried on being used. Eventually the pressure would have just built up and the whole unit would have exploded. Okay, so I'm going to leave this now just to drain. So this is a viscous coupling that's actually where its casing is cracked, and these are the discs that came out of that one, and I haven't even bothered to clean these up. But if you look closely at that point there, you'll see how the little fingers are bent, and these ones are really worn. There's hardly any at all of the nickel coating, and that one is just at it. Case of a viscous coupling, it's been taken for aqua blasting, so it's nice and clean. I'm just going to show you how it works. How it works really. So this is the top, and this you can see the threads on the top there. So the cap just screws on, and the little indentation there, this goes through the cap and then locks in place. It doesn't really lock, but it would just stop it turning. So this just screws down as tight till it bottoms out, and then just unwind it to the first locking point. And the way that you get these apart is to hold this part, probably in the chuck of a lathe, use the tool, fits over and locks on there, and basically then just unscrew it. You're going to need to weld or bolt a long bar to the edge of the tool, and to start with it's sometimes worth putting a piece of threaded rod with a plate just to hold the tool on, and provided you've got the bottom, the aluminium part, fixed very tightly in a chuck of some sort, then it will just unscrew. I'd always put it in the freezer overnight before I take them apart.
Cow.
So here's a stack of discs taken from the viscous coupling. You can see that they're quite tricky to get apart, and it's a really yucky job. But all you do is you just take the next one off, get a piece of kitchen roll, wipe the worst of the silicone off, and get a bit more. and then give it a spray with some sort of solvent that will clean up silicone. And just keep going until you've cleaned up the disc. Okay, and here's my stack of clean discs so far. And actually, if you look closely at some of these discs, you can see that there's definitely signs of wear on these discs. Okay, press it. So I'm cleaning these discs up, and you can see as I'm cleaning that there's a residue around the edge, and this is a definite sign that the silicone was on its way out. And it does make cleaning of them quite tricky, because when I've cleaned other viscous couplings, the silicone's just wiped off much easier than this. It almost appears to be going thicker. I wish there was a quicker way to do this job. So after cleaning the viscous coupling inside and out, cleaning the discs, you then need to weigh the viscous coupling, weigh the discs, weigh the cap, fill it with water as full as possible, weigh it again. Also measure the volume of water that you're putting in, and the combination of the weight and the volume you've put in will allow you to gauge pretty accurately how much water it takes to fill the viscous coupling. You can then calculate an airspace, and then you have to use the density of the silicone, which is 0.97, to work out how much weight wise silicone you need. And it's actually more or less just to be filled right to the top of the viscous coupling, and the airspace is almost created by those little indentations in the top of the cap.